guys, welcome back to CJ's Keto Kitchen. Happy Easter or happy April Fool's Day, whatever you're going to be celebrating. But whatever it is, happy spring. Today we're going to be making a very easy and refreshing dessert to go along with whatever meal you're going to be celebrating in the next couple of days. So it's going to be a key lime cheesecake pie. It's very easy and most of it is no bake, so it won't take up any room in your oven while you're cooking the rest of your goodies. So come along with us and let's make some yummy, delicious citrus springtime food. So we're going to start with an 8-inch springform pan, and these are pretty inexpensive now. We got ours actually in a set of 3 different sizes, an 8, a 9, and a 10 at Walmart, and it was about $11. So I have put a little bit of butter down and then a piece of parchment just so that my crust will come off a little easier when I get done. And you do not have to use a springform pan. You can totally use a pie pan or anything you want, but it's nice for presentation and to be authentic for cheesecake. So I've got that prepared and we're going to set that aside. And in a bowl, I have 1.25 cups of almond flour. And I've just kind of zhuzhed it around with a fork to break it up. And to that, I am going to add a little bit of sweetener. And you can use your sweetener of choice. I'm going to be using erythritol, and just about a tablespoon is all you need, because your crust is just going to be your vehicle for your yummy cheesecake. And I just kind of incorporate that. But you can make it as sweet as you'd like. And to that, we are going to add 4 tablespoons of melted butter. I've already melted it. And we are just going to mix that around and get our crust forming so that we can press that in the bottom of our springform pan. So just make sure all your flour crumbs are starting to come together. So you're basically making essentially what would be like a shortbread crust. So this is going to be close to what they would call in the 50s and 60s an icebox pie. This is going to be the only cooked part of our cheesecake. The rest is going to be just no bake, and you're going to put it in the refrigerator to chill. So we're going to get this into our springform pan. And I'm just going to put it around evenly so that when I start pressing it in, it will press in evenly. So I'm just going to use my fingers. Clean hands are your best tool in the kitchen. And just start pressing everything down to form our crust. And we are going to bake this for 350 degrees for about 8 minutes. You just want it to be lightly brown. You don't want it to get too overdone. So I'm just making that nice and even. And the parchment will help come out a lot easier when it's time to serve. So we're going to go into the oven for about 8 minutes at 350. So to begin the filling part, I am super excited because I get to use my brand new KitchenAid mixer, which was a Christmas present from CJ, and this is the first time I'm going to be using it, so I'm very excited. So to begin, we want to start with our cream cheese. And we always get the Philadelphia brand because it has almost no carbs. Sometimes if you get the grocery store brand, they have quite a few more carbs, so definitely check your macros on the back of the package. And I have let this cream cheese sit out at room temperature overnight because you really want your cream cheese to be super soft so that it incorporates well. And we're going to be whisking this You can use a regular hand mixer. You can use a, an immersion blender, whatever you would like to use to get all your ingredients mixed together. But it's going to have to whip for a little bit to get all of the lumps out. We're just gonna plunk that in the bowl. You need to make sure the bowl is on. There, okay. And you want to start it on low just to begin with. And then go ahead and get it up high. So you want to get all the lumps out. Okay, to our beaten cream cheese, I'm going to add a tablespoon of key lime juice. And you can just find key lime juice right on the shelf nowadays when you look for the rest of your plastic lime. Of course, if you wanted to use fresh key limes, you totally could. But it's really hard to get juice out of key limes. I'm speaking from experience, so it's way easier to me just to use the bottled stuff. So I'm going to put about a tablespoon in there. And then we're going to beat it a little bit longer. Now I'm going to scrape the bowl, scrape down the sides to make sure that this cream cheese has gotten as fluffy as possible. Let it go just a tiny bit longer before we add our next ingredient. Now our next ingredient is 1.25 cups of heavy cream. I'm sorry, 1.5 cups. 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream. So we're just going to pour that in. And then we are going to go ahead and whip that until it's nice and fluffy. I'm going to stir the bowl with my spatula one more time just to make sure that everything is getting nicely incorporated from the bottom. Okay, so we can see that has gotten nice and fluffy and it's sticking to the whisk. So our next ingredient is going to be sugar-free lime jello, and it's just a small size, the 0.30. And of course, if you wanted to make this some other flavor, you absolutely could. So we're just going to add the pouch and sprinkle it around evenly. And then we're going to put our beater back down in there and start out slow just to get everything incorporated. Make sure everything is incorporated. Everything tends to collect on the sides in the mixing bowl, and we want to make sure that all of the liminess gets added. Now I have personally found that this isn't very sweet, so if you like your cheesecake just a little bit sweeter, at this point you would want to add a little bit of artificial sweetener. So I'm going to add just a little bit of my powdered erythritol. We just buy the So Nourished brand. We talked about this on our last favorites video if you want to know more about it. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of that just to give it just a touch more sweetness. And then also at this point, I'm going to be adding some lime zest. I have already zested 1 lime in here. And all you do is you can take your microplane if you have a zester and just zest your limes. Try not to get the white pithy part because it can be bitter. And I will show you how to do that just in case you've never done it before. But this is really going to add a lot of lime flavor to it. Plus it looks pretty. Okay, so now we're going to put our mixer back down and let this go for another minute and probably stir again. Okay, I'm going to stir one more time with the spatula just to make sure that we got everything incorporated. It's nice and smooth and a pretty color of green. And I won't lick my fingers on camera. Okay, it is ready to put into our shell. I'm just going to take my beater off. If I can remember how I do this. There we go. Okay, so we're just going to get all this yummy filling into our shell, and it has cooled. It's nice and fluffy and smooth. Should make a delicious cheesecake. So just smooth it around as best you can with your spatula to make it nice and even. And you're going to want to let this chill for about 2 hours, and of course you can do it overnight if you'd rather. And it's just going to help it set up. You can see the pretty zest in there. Okay. So there she is. We're going to let her chill. So I'm just slicing some of the lime that we already zested just to garnish when we serve. I have just taken the springform ring off so that we can slice it. And hopefully putting down that parchment paper is going to make it easier for us to get in here. So this is what it looks like from the side. I don't know if you can see the variation in the crust and the filling. So I'm just using my knife to cut first, and then I'm going to use my skinny spatula to get a piece. Hopefully. The first piece is always the hardest one to get. Woohoo! I did leave a little bit of crust behind. So then you can get some whipped cream, just canned whipped cream. It's usually pretty low in carbs, just extra creamy. I think it's got 1 carb for 2 tablespoons. So, and then if you want to zhuzh up the back, you can make pretty little stars. And then you can take your lime and just slide it on there like so. Voila! Ready to serve. Ta-da! Key lime cheesecake pie. Thanks for joining us again, you guys. Please come back and make more delicious food with us. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell. We'd love to have you be a part of our ketogenic family. And we will see you next time on CJ's Keto Kitchen.